Well, hello, happy thinkers. Hi, it's Melissa here delivering WTF or Wednesday Thought Forum. Today's episode is number 32, and we are going to be talking about PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder. What, who, and how. First and foremost, I want to say Happy Veterans Day to all of our veterans out there, and thank you so much for your service. We appreciate it. So, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. This episode is going to be going out to our veterans or anyone else who has suffered from PTSD. Even if you've never suffered from PTSD, please listen to this video in its entirety so you can learn and understand what those who do have it are going through. It'll also give you a better understanding when an episode happens or something, you'll kind of understand where they come from. So what exactly is PTSD? Well, PTSD is a feeling of being stuck with the constant feeling of a sense of danger and compromised compared with a bunch of painful memories. It usually takes place after a traumatic event or an experience, and after a traumatic experience, it's normal to feel frightened, sad, anxious, or disconnected when this happens. Hi, Lindsay. Hi, Kelly. We are just talking about PTSD, kind of in honor of our veterans. A lot of those have them, the PTSD from combat. So I thought this would be appropriate for today, but thank you both for joining. If these signs and symptoms continue after a traumatic event, then you might be suffering from PTSD. Hi, Teresa. Nice to see you. We are talking about PTSD in honor of our veterans today. A lot of those suffer and it goes unknown. So that is our topic. But people can be affected by PTSD who personally experience a traumatic event. Perhaps maybe you witness an event. It could be like in EMS, law enforcement, or maybe you're even a bystander who witnesses a traumatic event. You may have been raped or maybe kidnapped, and that person can have a lot of post-traumatic stress disorder. And again, our veterans, they witness a lot of traumatic events and things of that nature. So they are one as well. What causes PTSD though? So this occurs when you experience too much stress in a particular situation. Even though the situation has not passed, your nervous system is still stuck. I'm going to share my experience and I'll hit what kind of post-traumatic stress disorder I had. But during my event in my prior marriage, I was under mental and verbal manipulation for many, many years, at least 13, and still tries to continue, but I learned how to manage it. But that's a long time. So I would have post-traumatic stress disorder when I was just driving back through my hometown where I used to live, or maybe the town where a lot of my divorce proceedings and things like that happened. So that was very traumatic for me, and I still hate it to this day, so I avoid a lot of it, and I'll go over that here in a moment as well. But even at work, I was constantly looking around because during my event I had been threatened, and family members were threatened, so there was a lot of different emotions going on, and I had to learn how to adapt to that. So when you're in a stressful situation, your body kind of reacts with that fight or flight response. What that feels like is kind of like a lot with those that have anxiety may be able to relate. It's when your heart beats faster, your blood pressure increases, your muscles tighten, and then after the stress is kind of dissipated, then your body calms afterwards. So what are the signs and symptoms one may have with post-traumatic stress disorder? These are all going to be different from people to people. Again, every person is different. Every situation is different. But most of the time, you're likely to develop these signs or symptoms in maybe hours or days after the event. But it can also take a while for them to be triggered. It could take weeks, months, sometimes even years. And they're often triggered by something maybe like an image or a certain sound or smell, or maybe even certain words may trigger this. But here are 4 types of the 4 main symptoms that you may have while going through a post-traumatic stress disorder. Number 1 is just re-experiencing the traumatic events. So you may be having memories or flashbacks or nightmares from that. Number 2 is what I went through, and it was more of avoidance and numbing. I avoided anything that reminded me of the trauma. Thank you for the heart, Kelly. I saw that. And so I avoided the situations or any situation that made me feel that way. And then a lot of times too, I was also not able to recall a lot of the aspects of the whole ordeal because I totally compartmentalized those and left them in the back burner. Thank you for another heart. I appreciate it. Looks like Tim may be watching us. So, and then there's also loss of interest in activities and life in general, and I went through that as well. Number 3 is, thank you guys for the hearts, I appreciate it. It's very encouraging. So number 3 is hyperarousal, and that's where you may have, hi Tim, I see you, thanks for watching. That's where you may have like sleep problems, you're irritable. Hi, Lisa. It's nice to see you. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're just talking about post-traumatic stress disorder since it is Veterans Day and a lot of our veterans do suffer from this. So number 3 is hyperarousal, and that's where people have sleep problems. They're irritable, aggressive. They may have some angry outbursts or some reckless behavior. And then number 4 is negative thoughts and mood changes. So they may be feeling alienated and alone. Sometimes it's difficult to concentrate and remember things. It could lead to depression and hopelessness. And then also there's a lot of mistrust and betrayal with that symptom. And you're also feeling guilty and shame. So here are a few questions I picked up when I was looking for this topic, and I'm not a doctor or anything by any means. So, but allegedly, if you have 3 or more of these, you could be suffering from PTSD. So it might be something you might want to just monitor. But number 1 question is: have you witnessed or experienced a traumatic event or life-threatening event? Another question you may ask is, did this experience make you feel intensely afraid or horrified or helpless? Another one is, do you have trouble getting the event out of your mind? Do you startle more easily or feel more irritable or angry than you did before the event? Do you go out of your way to avoid activities, people, or thoughts that remind you of the event? Do you have more trouble falling asleep or concentrating than you ever did before the event? Have your symptoms lasted more than a month? And is your distress making it harder for you to work or function normally? So those are just a few questions. Here are some types of PTSD. And PTSD symptoms can result, but they're not limited to these. So I'm just throwing them out there. But types of PTSD, again, is from military combat, which we see a lot of with our military members. It could be childhood neglect, or maybe, again, there's an accident, whether it be an auto accident, or maybe you were involved in an accident. And then there's natural disaster, and then there's personal tragedy and violence, which I had. And I see Tim, he's like, this would be perfect to do one-on-one. Gotcha. Okay, exactly. Yeah, we may do that. So I remember that, Tim. That was unfortunate, but she's doing well now, so. And then, yeah, so then we have 4 tips for PTSD. So again, if you have not suffered from PTSD, just listen to these tips, because if someone is going through PTSD or an episode with you or something like that, then hopefully you can use these tips to maybe work them through it. But the first one is to challenge your sense of hopelessness. Healing, like anything else, doesn't happen overnight, and memories aren't going to disappear completely either. But remind yourself or the other person that you have strength and coping skills to get through this. You might try volunteering, maybe giving blood or donating to charity, but volunteering your time does help with that. Number 2 is get moving, and we talk a lot about this in our other WTF videos when you're experiencing anxiety or stress or anything like that. But exercise does get rid of negative energy. When you're exercising, it relieves stress on the nervous system. So think when you're next time you exercise, focus on your breathing, or maybe even your feet hitting the ground if you're walking or jogging. This just redirects your thoughts and your thought process, your brain activity. Another one would be to just get outdoors. Being outdoors is very nice, peaceful, and calming for many people, and enjoying nature. And let's see. And then number 3 would be to reach out to others for support. A lot of times, this is an important one, because a lot of people will just kind of crawl up in a shell and withdraw from people and their social activities and everything. So it's very important to stay connected to life and the people that care about you, because they're going to help you. I'm just reading Lisa's message real quick. You're amazing for bringing awareness to this chat session. I don't have PTSD, but I know people who do. Yeah, I thought it was very appropriate today. Again, given our veterans, I mean, I think it's, I feel bad for our veterans, because there's a lot out there suffering from this. And I don't think we do enough as a country to help them out. And to me, it's very sad. So, hi, Jody. Nice to see you tonight. And Teresa just responded. I was just remembering what you went through. I'm just thankful I have my sissy poo back. Yeah, it's not easy. But again, I think it's an important topic, because there's a lot of people that have it, and sometimes it goes unknown. And then, love you too, sis. So I just think it's a very important topic, especially again, today it's Veterans Day. But anyways, we want to keep these people connected, so we don't want them to withdraw from others. And the 4th tip is going to be support PTSD with treatment or a healthy lifestyle. In other words, take time to relax. I mean, actually set aside time for maybe meditation, yoga, massage. It could be a hobby, fishing or something. So those kind of things, will help you relax if you do have PTSD. The big one is to avoid drugs and alcohol. And for a lot of people, they don't understand this. I never use drug and alcohol to treat it, but I want people to understand that just because people may be alcoholic or use a lot of drugs to treat this, if you've never used it before, you wouldn't know, but a lot of people will use alcohol or drugs because it relieves the pain. I mean, they're in that much pain mentally. It relieves the pain, takes off the edge, the stress level, and then people just start doing that because it feels good to them, because they don't know any other way, so they revert to drugs and alcohol, unfortunately. And then if you have the addicted gene, then you're going to obviously be addicted to it. So avoid drugs and alcohol at all measures to try and treat something like this. It's not the best way at all. But eat a healthy diet. Diet is very important, lots of water, because it helps bring good energy, and then it also helps stabilize your mood. And then sleep is also a very important one for those who have PTSD, because we all know, and this applies to all of us, when you're sleep deprived, you're angered easily, you're irritable, you're very moody. So remember that, and try to develop a bedtime ritual with calming music or maybe a funny show or brainless TV. I know my husband and I sometimes will sit and just watch some of this crazy stories like 90 Day Fiance or Married at First Sight. It's just brainless TV. But there are ways to treat PTSD. Again, I'm not a medical doctor or therapist or anything, but I know that there is CBT or cognitive behavioral therapy out there. There's also family therapy and medication. I do have an article on therapy. So if you want to go to my site at thinkmefirst.com, in the search bar, just type in therapy. It'll take you right to that article. But my final thoughts here today is, number one, do not judge. We never know someone's background, and we should be out there helping each other. Part of helping others, too, is also educating ourselves. So don't forget that. If you haven't wished a veteran today or thanked them for their service, please reach out to one before the evening ends. And if you like this material, again, you can find me at thinkmefirst.com, which is my website. You can also find me on Pinterest at pinterest.com /Missy Think Me First. I'm also on YouTube. Easiest way to do that is to just type in Melissa Shim in the search bar, and it'll bring you to my channel. If you go to my channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bells. I'm trying to get to 100. I haven't focused so much on YouTube, but I'm trying to get to 100, and then I can just use Think Me First. And I think, if you want to join my email, I send out 2 emails a week. And they're just extra tips, tricks, and hacks to self-improvement. So if you want to do that, just go to my website and sign up, and I'll get this shot out to you too. Anyways, big crowd tonight. I just want to thank everyone for stopping by. It's a very important message. And if you have any veterans, please drop their name in our post about veterans today so we can all stop by and thank them. And if you have any topics that you want to talk about, just drop a note in the comments after this video post, and we'll get on top of those. But anyways, again, thank you all for joining me, and love you guys, and peace out.